Cristina.
Elizabeth.
We wanted to do a quick video for everyone to kind of go over the top
10 questions we get regarding tenants in common. Do 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 do. Can you put some like noise in there? Do do bum bum boom boom. Special edition. Episode 9
or 10. I'm not sure.
Maybe do like subtitles or something that make our.
Okay, top 10 questions.
Different.
So this is important because we have gotten literally 50 calls, text messages, emails a day for like the last 5 days since we listed this property.
On 5th.
And every single voicemail it says
the same 3 questions.
The same 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah.
So we're like, we should have a video. We could just send people the link.
Yeah.
Though we love talking to people personally. And,
well,
but this might help speed up the process because I still owe people a call back from Monday, which was like 4 days ago.
Sorry.
It's embarrassing.
I'm really sorry.
It's really embarrassing.
It's her. It's not me.
Okay, top question you get. You go first.
What is a TIC? Like, what's your 5-second elevator pitch? Just another word for common co-ownership. I should probably.
It's like a condo.
It's like a condo, but not a condo.
Technically, there's a technical difference, but what you see and feel and how it acts, it's like a condo. And then people always want to know, well, what's the main difference?
I like that.
It's the loan.
Yeah. Okay.
With condo, you can go to any lender and get a loan. With TIC, you have to go to one of the 2 lenders in LA who offers the fractional TIC loan.
That's right.
So that's the first question you get.
Next question is.
I would say it's like, can I sell my unit?
Can I sell my unit?
That's what
I meant to say.
Top question number 2.
Yeah. And then we say.
Maybe?
Yes.
No. Yes, you can sell your unit. You don't need. Everyone wants to know. Do you need permission to sell your unit? Like a co-op, I guess.
Yeah.
No. Co-ops are
pretty
crazy.
Yeah.
TIC, not crazy. TIC is like a condo. You just stick a for sale sign.
Yeah.
On the fence, like right there.
Yeah. Well, call a realtor. Call a professional.
Call a professional and have a sign.
Don't take matters into your own hands. But assuming you've called a professional, it's pretty easy to sell.
You don't need permission.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up question is like, well, is it going to appreciate? Is it a good investment? Like, does it sell? Is it harder to sell? And then you sort of like say, well, look around. There's 200 people coming through this open house right now.
Well, we don't say that, but that's funny.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, we referenced the study they did in San Francisco that took a span of 10 years, reviewed how TIC units sell versus condo units, and discovered basically they hold their value. And
what they discovered was TICs take about 2 weeks or so longer to sell than a condo.
Yeah.
Which is because we have 2 lenders. So all these buyers are coming in, pre-approved with another lender.
Right.
They can't write an offer until they get approved with this TIC lender.
Right.
So that sort of delays
the closing process.
The accepting an offer process.
Right.
A couple weeks. But it's not like months longer. It's not like you're just sitting on the market waiting for someone to come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's that question. Okay, you gotta hammer through these faster. Hold on, you got a bug landed on you. Hold on, I got him.
Oh, thank you.
I got him. He's wild.
You know, everybody's asking a lot of questions, trying to like poke a hole in TIC and trying to find what the catch is. It's like they keep thinking like
something's wrong with
something's got to be wrong because it's so much cheaper, and there's got to be a catch.
Yeah. Well,
so then they ask, what's the catch?
Yeah.
And I say the catch is there's 2 lenders versus 100.
Right. Yeah.
The other catch is difference. It's not really a catch. It's just there's some differences, like the property tax bill. There's 1 property tax bill for the whole property. So if you have a 4-unit community, they all are going to have to get this property tax bill and figure out who owes what portion, pay the bill, and they all have to make sure it gets paid.
Yeah.
And then they want to know, well, what if someone defaults on their property taxes? So that's something we can talk about. Yeah. How do you explain that?
Usually I just tell them the whole place burns down. Just burns down to the ground, But
that is a risk. With TIC, that is an added risk versus buying a condo. Like you want to make sure that property tax bill gets paid.
Everybody's responsible for the property tax bill.
But there's safeguards in place to make sure that, to protect the other owners.
To mitigate that risk.
To protect the other owners if somebody defaults.
Sure, that's a better way to say it.
Let's
go with that.
And the most important safeguard, in my opinion, is that in the TIC agreement, there's it's a foreclosable item.
Right.
So
it's impounded with the loan. So as soon as they're $1 short,
that's another
It's going to be a
safeguard.
red flag with the lender.
Right. So one, if somebody defaults on their property taxes, the other 3 owners can start a foreclosure process. 2, the other safeguard is if there's 2 lenders, Sterling impounds property taxes with the mortgage payment. So if you don't pay your mortgage, the lender's going to foreclose on you.
NCB doesn't impound it?
They don't.
Ooh. Huh. Special edition. Doom, 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 doom.
And if you don't, the HOA, the TIC agreement requires that your property taxes be included in your HOA dues if the lender's not impounding it.
Right. That
So
way the HOA can foreclose on
You'd
it.
have to pay the HOA, your property taxes prorated every month with the HOA. So if you have a neighbor who's not paying that monthly bill, you're going to have the heads up, hey, they stopped paying.
Well before the biannual assessment
exactly.
is due.
Yeah. And then, in 30 years or however many years in San Francisco that they've been selling TIC, there's never been a foreclosure that we're aware of defaulted property taxes.
Yeah, or HOAs.
Yeah, so
right.
it's a low risk.
So yeah, I mean,
I think it's a low risk because, you and I have talked about this before, that why are these TIC communities so successful? Like, why hasn't there been a foreclosure for non-payment of property taxes? Like, everyone's coming in thinking like, oh my gosh, that's a huge risk,
yeah,
but it's never happened.
One of the first questions.
So, but why? And so what I've sort of figured out is it's because of the lender.
Yeah.
Like you're not qualifying the buyers as they come in. You don't need permission to sell, so anyone can buy in. But that buyer has to either be all cash or has to get approved by one of the 2 lenders. And the 2 lenders are going to require 20% down, 6 months reserves in your bank account on top of your down payment, 700 credit score. Like this is a financially responsible buyer. So why are you laughing?
Because I don't have any of those things. So that would mean I'm not a financially responsible
So you're not going to get you as a neighbor, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get me as a neighbor. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe. I'm financially responsible. You are too.
Yeah.
But anyway, you're going to have a community where everyone's been vetted by the lender. So that sort of, I think that
true.
element is what's elevated TICs. This
Yeah.
isn't a low income product. This
No.
is sort of a middle income.
Yeah.
If you're high income, you can just go buy a house. You can go buy
Right,
a condo,
a condo,
right?
whatever, yeah.
So people want to know why are they selling it like TIC? Like why aren't they just selling it as a condo?
Right. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
get that a
one.
lot. I get
Yeah.
when people are like, I don't get it. Why is it TIC?
Yeah. It's a cost basis. Well.
No, it's not.
Oh.
Whoa, that was aggressive.
Yeah. First argument on camera. Let's go. Let's go, girl.
Okay, cost
Let's
basis
go.
versus practicality.
Right.
Like
fine.
this wouldn't qualify for it to be a
That's
condo
right.
conversion.
Most properties that we sell are, typically, this is 1950, but the back bungalow is 1911. Most of the properties we sell are these jewel 20s and 40s properties. They'll never qualify for the condo conversion. They don't have the parking, they don't have the setbacks. It's going to be very challenging to get that property to qualify for the condo conversion. So what happens is a developer comes in, demolishes everything, and puts those square gray boxes with like an accent teal color, which is so awesome looking. That one right behind us.
Oh, that's a pretty house behind us.
Sorry, that's a really nice
But
house
no,
right
so
behind us.
and then
Not a
if
square
it
box.
did qualify for condo conversion, then the cost becomes a factor, right? And time. You'd have to
Right.
it would take a year or 2 to go through the conversion
Right,
process.
6 figures invested.
Costs a lot of money, and
that cost then gets transferred onto the buyer, and now we're selling condos which are 10 to 20% more than TICs. So for us, we're passionate about opening the door of affordability a little bit. If we were just going to condo convert, great, but we're actually trying to achieve something. We're actually trying to get people who have been renting for all their adult life into home ownership, and they can't afford, these people that can't afford a condo. So we're trying to open that door a little bit. And, that's our passion.
the person who's asking that question is usually the agent, and they're approaching it from, well, why is it TIC and my poor buyer is limited on financing, and they're looking at it as a negative. Like they'd rather it be a condo so their client would have any bank they want to go to, and really it's.
It's the best.
The
the
buyer
best
comes
part
in and is
about it,
like,
yeah.
I can't afford anything else in this
Right.
neighborhood. I'm priced
Right,
out of the neighborhood.
exactly.
I'm writing offer after offer, and I give you an outbid. And this you want this this is TIC, and I have two lenders, and the interest rate's 3.6, and that's what I'm getting quoted at Chase. Like, fine, I'll take it. They aren't as concerned
Right.
as sometimes the agents are. Which leads me to my next top 10 question that I get from agents is, they'll call and they'll say, hey, Liz, I see your TIC. My client wants to see it. I've heard about TIC. I know what it is, but can you tell me what it is?
No. My favorite line is, I know about TIC, but can you give me a refresher? Like, you don't. When have you learned about TIC? Please.
It's getting around.
It's getting around, yeah.
But people are getting the wrong
A refresher.
information. People are
Yeah.
people are hearing things like
That's true.
that it's really hard to get qualified for the loan. And it's not that it's harder to qualify for the loan. You
Well,
know,
maybe I should stop saying it's harder to qualify for the loan.
are
then.
you saying that?
I might
Oh,
have said that, like, for the last 2 years. Because it's harder to get qualified.
No, it's not that it's harder to get qualified for the loan. It's just that there's, okay, if you have a pool of buyers and you've got some buyers who are FHA, VA, low down, 5% down, they're not going to qualify. You have to have 10% down minimum.
Yeah, so
For
what you're trying to
Sterling.
say is,
So it's not that it's harder, it's just that it eliminates a certain buyer pool.
right.
And then you have the buyer
Sure,
pool
that's
who
a good way to
does
say
qualify
that.
for the lender.
Yeah.
This loan program, they have the 700 credit score, they have the 6 months reserves, they have the down payment, 10 to 20%. It's not any harder for that buyer
not-
to
it's not hard.
qualify
They're like loan
for this
challenged.
loan as it is
Yeah.
for them to qualify for a conventional loan.
Yeah.
It's just you're weeding out the buyer pool.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important part to make, because when you're talking to a buyer who qualifies, they don't understand that it's harder to qualify. They don't
That's
get that.
true. Yeah, that's
They're
right.
looking, it's
They're
like, well,
like,
that's
it's
the interest
normal.
rate that
That's-
this other
right,
lender,
right.
you know what I mean? Like,
I get that.
So
Okay.
you
Yeah,
gotta
you
stop.
did.
You gotta stop saying that.
Okay.
What is another question you get?
Can you sell it?
So then maybe they say, can you rent it out? Are there rental restrictions?
Right, yeah.
And half of the properties, I would say, that we've sold, the TIC properties, have been removed from
Sorry, there's another guy. They're
the bugs
they're
are
everywhere.
out.
What is, gosh.
Half the units we've sold
What is
have,
this neighborhood?
have been removed from the rental market, right?
Yeah, I would say half of them. I don't know, maybe less. Maybe
and when
more,
you
I don't know.
remove a property from the rental market, the city puts a restriction on the property. You can't rent it for a certain amount of time.
Right.
And so for those properties that we're selling, there's a city restriction on title.
On title.
And the property's going to have to be owner occupied during that time frame.
Yeah.
So it's important to ask when you see one of our TIC listings if, I would say the majority of buyers coming through want to owner occupy.
Yeah.
But they all want to know
In 4 years,
what
in 5
happens
years.
if I get married, if I have
Yeah.
kids, if my job moves me across country, or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah.
Can I rent it out if there's an
Right.
emergency?
Right.
And the answer is yes, but if there's a restriction, you can't
To
until
wait.
after the restriction
Right, yeah,
period's up.
Yeah. Right. Could be 3, 5,
and
10
then-
years, whatever's left on the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like this
Just
property,
depends.
our property on 2nd Avenue, no rental restrictions.
Yeah, this one has a couple
Virginia
years left. Yeah.
had a 5-year restriction.
That's right.
This property has like 2 years
2 years left, yeah.
So it just sort of depends on the
Depends on it,
property.
exactly.
You got to ask. But because so many of the buyers we're meeting ask us, they're saying, hey, I want to owner occupy, but I want the ability to rent it. Like, we remove rental restrictions from the TIC agreement. Yeah.
Jinx.
Jinx.
That's a Coke.
1, 2, 3.
That's going to be a Coke. Yeah. No, you heard it here, folks.
All right,
It's a Coke.
You get a Coke.
And then I think the last question you should say, what's in the HOA? Do you want to do that one? What's
Yeah.
the HOA cover?
What's HOA cover?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 to 4 units. It's going to cover water bill,
Water bill,
insurance,
Jinx.
gardener, finance manager.
Yeah, we implement a finance manager. This is a, sort of like a TIC accountant specialist that really sets up the bank accounts, collects the checks from the owners, and pays the bills, right? And then also pays the property tax, which is nice. So
So there is an HOA. That's another question people ask. Like, is there HOA dues?
Yeah.
What do they include?
Right.
And so it's your basic monthly expenses
Right.
divided by 4, or
Yeah.
whatever the base
Right.
percentage is, depending on your square footage.
that's right. For 4 units or less, there's very little to no reserve baked in, and these communities are just being started, so there's very little in the reserve to start with, if anything. For 5 units or more, it's handled a little bit differently, and reserves for the entire building and everything common, all the systems are baked in. So that's the long and short of it.
Yeah. And I think with the 4-unit building, I compare it.
Sorry, I just remembered another one. Go ahead.
Another
Sorry.
hold on to
Yeah,
that thought. Well,
sorry.
I was just going to say, with the 4-unit building,
Little buggy.
I sort of look at it as a hybrid between buying a single family home and buying a condo. Like, if you buy a condo, like a 40-unit condo building, you're going to have a board of directors who sort of makes these decisions for you, and you pay your monthly due, and they take care of the roof when it gets bad, and they take care of the plumbing, and they pull out the reserves, and it's done. If you buy a house and the roof goes out, you are responsible for it 100%.
Right.
With a 4-unit TIC or a 2 to 4 unit, it's sort of like a hybrid. Like there isn't a reserves, but you're not 100% responsible for it.
Yeah, it's true co-ownership.
It's co-ownership.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about the TIC agreement is, one owner has to step up and be like the manager for the year. And that person's in charge of calling the plumber, calling the roofer.
Right, getting bids or whatever.
And at the end of the year, they have to step down and another
Someone
owner
else
has to step up. So it's like you only have to do that once every 4 years versus living in a house, like it's all on you all the time.
That's pretty good.
Or versus living in a condo where you can just check out, let somebody else do it.
Right.
And then you have no say.
Yeah.
So it's co-ownership. It's like easing your way into home ownership.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. What's your next thing?
I don't know. I was trying to come up with like a coined word of easing your way into co-ownership. There's got to be a slogan there. I was going to say the last question I can think of is they say like, well, can we like, renovate our units?
Right. That's a big one. Like,
Yeah.
what can I do in my unit? And then you say, it's like a condo. Like a condo.
Yeah.
Can I sell it? Like a condo. Everything is like a condo.
Well, it was meant to mimic a condo, so that's why we continue to say that, because that's
The TIC agreement
that's
was-
what its intention was.
Yeah, the TIC agreement was written to mimic condo ownership. So it's the TIC agreement, which gives you the exclusive rights to one unit, really creates ownership, like a condo ownership.
Right.
So
yeah,
can you paint the exterior? No, you've got to get permission from the HOA.
Right.
Can you paint your interior? Can you open up a wall? Can you redo your kitchen, the bathroom? You can do whatever you want. You'd have to open it. If you open up a wall, you'd have to do it with a structural engineer.
Right,
With
permits,
a licensed contractor,
exactly.
permits, like a condo,
Yeah.
But the HOA can't stop you.
Yeah.
If you want to do an addition
Yeah.
and add out, then you have to get HOA because that would have approval.
Yeah, that's structural or appearance.
But yeah, it would affect the value of everybody else.
That's
'cause
right.
It's the appearance. So
Right.
I think we covered a lot of the pretty much common questions.
We did good.
Yeah.
Is your neck tight? You look a little,
Stiff?
a little stiff. Loosen up. I'm way too behind you too.
I don't know. I worked out this morning. I'm a little sore.
Oh, leg day today. Hit me.
Is that it?
That's it. Should we try and sign off right there? Thank you all for calling, and I just want to personally apologize to the people who called on Monday. We
will get back to you
deleted all of your
eventually.
messages. We panicked. I'm so sorry. We literally couldn't handle it.
So we're making the video.
Stay with us.